Hey friends, I want to thank you guys for coming in to watch today's video. I've noticed that around 70% of you guys that actually watch the videos aren't subscribed just yet. But if you'd like to, definitely hit that subscribe button, sit back and enjoy the video. And to the ones who are subscribed, I want to thank you guys so much. You guys are the best. And thank you guys for... Sorry, my cat's bothering me. Ow! Obligatory, this happened a few years ago when I was a child. My family and I are dirt poor, and not only that, I have horrible social anxiety, especially at the time of this incident. So because we were so poor, my mother couldn't afford a babysitter. We had moved away from our family after an abusive past. We lived in the middle of nowhere in Pennsylvania, so Mom never really worried about crimes or possible criminals. Because of this, she would leave me in the car as she and my siblings went shopping. I had social anxiety, as said, so I was fine with it and preferred staying in the car. I had a phone, doors locked, yada yada. No need to be worried, we would think. Of course, that was wrong in this instance. I was chilling in the front seat playing some music, on my phone and all that. I never really paid too much attention to the cars driving by. Mostly paid attention to the people that walked just a bit too close and would make me nervous. This was until this old dark reddish purple, beaten to hell car pulled in front of me. I spared a glance on instinct. There was two people in the car, a skinny yet tall man with a stained white t-shirt, and a bigger yet again tall woman. Nothing really out of the ordinary, so no red flags were raised. I just expected them to go on throughout their day and all. I stopped paying attention and went back to my phone. A few minutes later, I'd gotten bored from scrolling through social media. I set down my phone and looked up, thinking that I was going to be staring off into space or something. Nope. What I saw had my heart racing immediately. The two people in the car had in fact not going about their day. They were there, sitting just where they were. Except for one thing. They were staring and smiling at me. Not that type of, oh, hey, you saw me. Now I feel like we have to give a polite smile. No. It was a smile that showed off their yellow, rotten teeth and sent chills down my spine. I immediately freaked out and my anxiety spiking. I was wondering what the hell they were doing. I averted my eyes from them, hoping they hadn't seen me staring or the panic of my expression. Except they must have. Suddenly the beaten car started. After sitting there doing nothing for what must have been 5 minutes, they started the car. My anxiety went out of control when I spared another glance upwards. The skinny man in the driver's seat was reaching below him, and when he came back up, he had a fucking pocket knife. And not one of those small, easily portable ones. It was huge. The knife was already protruding out, and I panicked. My fight or flight response kicked in. I didn't even think. I grabbed my phone and fucking bolted. I left the car on, keys behind, and everything. I just left. The thing was, the minute I was beginning to make a run for it, their door opened. It made a long and ear-splitting screech, which was how I knew someone was getting out of the car the minute I started getting out of mine. I didn't spare a glance, I just ran. Ran and ran until I made it into my mom in the supermarket and told her what had happened. She freaked out, and because I had left the keys in the car, decided to go outside to get them. Me, and including all of my siblings, came with. But when we got to the car, the people were gone. No car. Nothing. And nothing was stolen either. I left the car unlocked and running, and nothing seemed to be touched. It was a perfect opportunity to steal and run mange through the car. I still don't know what was really going to happen. The parking lot wasn't packed, but it sure as hell wasn't empty either. How were they planning to use that knife? Someone was bound to notice, still had me paranoid for the next few shopping trips. And I always went in with my family after that. My hubby and I moved into this house 1.5 years ago, and it all started just after lockdown. The neighbors on one side have a couple on the bottom half, 40s, and a single man on the top half. It's all one big house, but they're pretty separate in their living arrangements. We have had drinks with the downstairs neighbors a couple of times, and the first time they introduced us to the upstairs guy, Trev. They told us after he left that he had some brain damage from falling off of a scaffold a few years ago. I'm pretty much the most paranoid person in the world. But every time I thought there was danger, I've been proven right, almost straight away. So hubby doesn't bitch and takes me seriously. Even jokes that I've got a spidey sense for natural disasters. So I inquired a bit further. The lady of the house tells me very occasionally he will have a psychotic breakdown and be violent, but it's very rare. And once in a while he shaves the cats. Cue blank stare. She just laughs and said he's harmless. And she's gotten some knitted jumpers for the cats in case he does it again. So I work in construction, and due to, what I've been on and off work like a yo-yo, but had a few solid weeks off while hubby went to work. Trev noticed this and came over one day to make sure I'm okay on my own. I said yes, I'm fine, and my bloke will be home any minute. Thank you. A few days later I open the door, which has a window so you can see out of, and throw the welcome mat out so I can beat it later. When I do this, however, he's standing there and halfway through saying something, like he was chatting away well before I opened the door. Then he says, "Well, are you?" And I obviously ask, which he says, "Coming over for a smoke," and holds a J out to me. I told him, "Sorry, mate. No, I get drug tested for work," and thought that would be it. He just stared at me and said, "You're alone though?" "I know you are," and I'd had enough. I told him, "Yep, I've got plenty of weapons and I'm not worried." Turned and went back inside. Maybe it was petty of me, but I went back out an hour or so later and sharpened all of my matches and knives, which I collect. There's a few dozen or so, and I made sure to do it in the front step where I normally smoke, because I knew that he would be watching me. Other things, including my tampons being taken from the windowsill in the toilet, only when the window is open, and there's no chance they'd fall under because the window, it's just a flat concrete for ages. You'd see them. My bins being sorted through, my mail being put on the step inside of the left of my mailbox, constantly seeing him hide and watch me when I'm cooking/doing dishes or smoking outside. I spoke to the downstairs couple once, and the woman told me not to be so hard on him. He's got brain damage. I told her speak to him, tell him not to come over to the property line ever again, or I'll deal with it, with the law or a more permanent way. I will deal with it, so tell him. I haven't had him over since, but he still watches. I still practice with my blades. I'm 5'3" to his 6'2". No, I don't care what's wrong with him, I'll just protect me. Hubby knows better, and is staying out of the way, while still keeping an eye on things. He's there if I need, but knows I'll sort out my own problems, just like the last. Cautionary tale about giving strangers rides ahead. About 10 years ago, I was on my way to work, and made my usual stop at the Speedway to grab a Red Bull. I made this stop about every day, so this was routine for me. On this day, however, I was already about 15 minutes late for work, but whipped into the gas station anyways. As I got out, there was a clearly strung out girl pacing by the entrance with a baby stroller. I assumed this lady was going to approach me when I got out of my car, and ask me for money to buy food. Midwest is filled with dope heads, so I braced myself for the awkward encounter and headed in. What happened instead is the lady bolted in front of me with her flip phone, and strolled in hand and started begging me for a ride up the road. I declined initially, but she would not fuck off. I get past her and buy my Red Bull, and head to the car. As I get to my car, she reappears from behind the car and starts begging again. This time she's flashing a photo of her baby on her phone, and tells me she just needs to drop off up the road. Fuck it, I'm already late for work. She hops in the back seat with her now clearly empty stroller, and instructs me to drive towards the bypass, close to my work. As we drive, she keeps telling me to just go straight. Every time I ask her how much further it is. Well, we're away from the city and it's all country roads. I lose my patience and very firmly tell her she needs to either give me the address or get out of the car. She throws $3 in my passenger seat and begs me to just turn onto this random gravel road. I turn down it and notice the only thing down the road is a beat-up Corsica, blocking half of the gravel path. I instantly pulled off to the side and tell her to get the fuck out now. She begs me to just take her down to the Corsica because it's her boyfriend, and he has her kid. I tell her if it's true, then he can drive down the road and pick her up. She texts on her phone for a second and without another word just hops out. I am officially sketched out and flip a bitch, just to see in the rear view that the Corsica hauling ass behind me, and the lady is gone. And turning onto the bypass opposite of me, ended up calling in since I was running about 30 minutes late after everything. I'm 100% certain that I was about to be robbed by crackheads or worse. Between the fake baby photo, empty stroller, and shady dirt road Corsica, I was pretty shook for a good week. This happened many years ago when I was maybe 16 at the time. I'm a very petite girl. This particular night I was working alone, and we closed at 10. It was snowing in the middle of winter, so it was super dark around 9:50 p.m. when this took place. Over the course of the last hour, I noticed a man pacing the store. I didn't really think too much of it because there was a lot of homeless people. They had stayed behind the subway just to go through the trash at the end of the night. I always brought out stuff for them whenever I could, so I thought maybe he was just trying to get a free sandwich or something. I let it slide. 10 minutes before close, this man walks in and starts pacing the front of the store. He was in a wife-beater tank top in the dead of winter, so my first thought was that he was high on drugs. Then I noticed that he was holding a crowbar. I tried to act calm, like I didn't see it. We didn't have a phone near the front, and I didn't want to run and be obvious. I grabbed a knife off the bread bar and politely asked him if he needed anything. He came right over to me and leaned over the side of the counter by the register, not in front of me, but beside me, like where the drinks are. He was my personal space now, and I was terrified. He made nervous small talk for me for a bit and then suddenly grabbed my arm and blurted out, "So, do all subway employees have access to the safe?" I panicked and said, "No, but all have access to the button on the register to call the police if someone's trying to rob us." And if I recall, there was always an officer across the road at the King Scoopers. I had my head under the register drawer, and he immediately turned around and said that there was no need for something like that, and then promptly left. Good thing, because there in fact was no button under the register. We didn't have any safety precautions, so if he wanted to hurt me and get that safe, there was nothing I could have done. I was lucky to think quickly in the situation and lied to the man. Otherwise, I don't know what would have happened. Hey friends, thanks for checking out today's video. If you haven't yet, please make sure to hit that like and subscribe button. And also, if you guys want some more behind the scenes action, follow me on my social medias. Links to these will be provided in the description, including my public Discord, where you can meme around with me and maybe just joke around and share some selfies and whatnot. Also, if you guys want to support me in the channel, please consider becoming a channel member or a Patreon, where for $1 a month you get early access to all my videos, as well as your name featured in each video. With all that being said, I want to thank you guys again. And remember, wipe your ass whenever you shit.